That's Dog Meets Dog. That's a trail near where I live, and I go on that trail every day. And so I get to see dog body language every day. And all that was pretty good dog body language, or was it? Were you guys watching it? Was it all good body language? You want to see it again? Yeah, we have some problematic body language in this thing. And what we'll do is we'll turn down the music and I'll point it out as we go, and then we'll come back and do some more this way. Come on, back up. Well, then it's your favorite part was the music? I'm sorry. Whoops, this is Unleashed Greetings. This is not it. Whoopsie. Yeah, that's body language. Okay. All right. So that's my dog Strider to the right. And these are just two nice dogs there. There comes Ariel. This is greeting. This is good greeting behavior. And they just joined a little gang there. Now watch the Border Collie to the foreground. And keep an eye on her in this one and also in the next one as well. And then now look at her. Can you see her over to the right there? Look what she's doing. What's she doing? She's stalking, isn't she? And I don't know if you noticed the little mix there, but she was a bit worried. And she'll do it again. This Border Collie is owned by a friend of mine. Okay, here she goes. Stalk, stalk, stalk. And look at the lab. Whoa! I'm worried now. Now here's some really bad body language. There's Ariel and Strider going after this little fox terrier who's like, oh geez. They go all the way up. Everybody acts really, really well. Oh, nice, nice, nice. And then he's so tense that he has to shake it all off. So that was what, a minute's worth of stuff with a whole bunch of different kinds of behaviors in there. And I find that most people have not the vaguest idea what their dogs are saying to one another. And of course, I don't really think that we do either. I think that we are better than some. You know, the more you watch dogs, the better you get at it. But certainly most owners don't even look down at their dogs. You know, how many of you have anything to do with classes? Yeah, the people bring their dogs in, do you notice they don't look at their dogs? And the dog's off here, paying attention to another dog going, and, you know, they have no idea, and then all of a sudden they hear the dog growl, another dog growl, and they go, what was all that all about? Because people really don't watch their dogs. So one of my jobs as a trainer and one of my jobs as a consultant is to teach people to watch their own dogs. I find it the most fascinating part of what I do, because I think they have a language that is truly subtle and extremely expressive if only we allow, you know, them to use it, which doesn't happen on leash. So, you know, you're walking along and another dog lunges at your dog. Your dog's on leash, the other dog's on leash. These are some famous last words. Don't worry, he's friendly. You know, I like it when they say, oh, he always does that. That happened to me just the other day. I'm walking along, another dog races up to Strider, you know, going, blah, 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 blah. And the guy goes, yeah, he does that. Okay, yeah, sure. I always walk up to people going, you know, I do that. I'm never going to pull the trigger. How are you supposed to know that? So, she never bites. Does that necessarily preclude whether she ever will bite? No. Behavior changes all the time. It's the only truth in behavior. It always changes. And this is one of my very most favorite because I even tell people to do it. Tell him he's never done that before. He's just gone, blah, 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 blah. And you go, oh my goodness, he's never done that before, except for about 5 minutes ago. And the other thing is, it must have been your dog. All these are signs that you've got some communication problems with your dog and other dogs. Pups see dogs as other puppies, and they behave to dogs as they would to other puppies until they are taught better by their elders. Most adult dogs see others as interesting, challenging, or threatening. Adult dogs, and except for Labrador retrievers, who see all other dogs as puppies. And who see themselves as puppies, too. And that, of course, is not all labs, because there are some labs that get very worried about things just as there are others. But they have different kinds of body languages, which is what we're exploring today. So if you can hang on to your questions, and we'll get to them. Pardon? That is from Wolf Park, yes. Yes, that's a photo from Wolf Park. I loved it. I thought, my goodness, what body language that is, What are they saying to each other? Little Red Riding Hood, huh? Yeah, I would like to know too. We'll have to think about it, okay? And maybe we'll come up with a reason. And maybe no one will know whether it's right or not, because we can't ask the dog, Canine communication has to be learned, and many people in our society don't believe that. They think that the dog comes already learning things. And as I said before, what happens is they think that some things can be taught and some things can't be taught, but they don't seem to realize which is which. What are the things that can be taught and which can't be taught? The biggest thing, from my point of view, is to think about the way people think compared to the way dogs think. People are, for lack of a better word, linear. We walk in straight lines. Children aren't, by the way. Children walk all over the place. And that you can see parents furious all over the world going, come on, we're going this way, and the kid's not. But people will walk, we walk. Our sidewalks are straight. Our streets are straight. We tend to walk in straight lines. When we meet someone, we walk up to that person and we say, hi, how are you? And we look straight in their eyes and we shake their hands. That's our culture. It's certainly not all cultures, but we tend to do that. So that's what, when we go for a walk, we're going for a walk, right? We're going to go someplace. Dogs are not linear. They are circuitous. They certainly go in all different kinds of directions, as everybody who has a leash dog knows, off this way, off this way. What is the hardest exercise to teach dogs? Loose leash walking, because there's nothing in it for them. They're following their noses. They want to go where their nose takes them. And if you leave a dog, if you walk a dog off leash, they're not going to be walking right next to you unless they're a heeler, in which case they will not leave your side. But for most dogs, they're just kind of all over the place. And if you remember that, then when you're trying to teach your dog good dog-dog body language, it will help you a lot, because you have to go, okay, so my dog is not a good communicator with other dogs. Why not? What's happening? Am I trying to make my dog linear when he can't be linear? Because this is not good dog-dog body language. When dogs greet each other when they're being good, they have a slow approach. It is not straight on, and they have indirect eye contact. That's all the things that goes into, they go into a dog greeting another dog. So if they're trotting along, having a grand old time, then they're going to say, see another dog, they're going to slow down. And then what they'll do usually is they'll turn their head like so. They may turn their whole body, and then they kind of walk all the way around. And then what do? They sniff, and they sniff right here, usually, and then they go around to the butt and they sniff. And then they return a lot to the neck area. So they go 1, 2, 3. And then they decide what they're going to do next. It's at that point where you have problems that break out in a lot of cases. I have a lot of clients who have dogs that go sniff, 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 fight. Anybody else have that kind of problem? It's a sniff, 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 fight. And some dogs just walk away, and some dogs play. And depending on your dog, you would know which your dog is most likely to do. So why would you think they do sniff, 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 fight? Personally, what I think is they are going, do I know you? Do I know you? I don't think I know you. Oh, geez. I got to get you away from me. And something, they're not intending to actually fight in most cases. Most of the time, they just are going, they're going to make you back up. They want some space back. Every animal has its personal space, flight distance, if you will, and that's the space at which it is most comfortable. So when they're all the way, right up on top of each other, they have taken that space away, and I believe it makes them very uncomfortable. Now, that is just Trisha's opinion. There's no, we can't interview the dogs to find out why they're doing that. But I think a lot of dogs are like that. Then there are other dogs who, once they know that they don't like a dog, they will then fight. Or they don't know the dog, they'll fight. Or they'll say, oh, it's an intact male, therefore I will fight. Or I'm a neutered male and that's another neutered male and I will fight. They want to figure out who's who and what they're doing. So this is, if it's going to work, this is a dog that ended up being pretty aggressive. It's a Portuguese water dog, and it is, okay, just keep talking, she says. She's down, working on me down here. He ended up being quite dog aggressive, and you can see this was the first time that something bad happened to him. Okay, Sunny is the dog that's on leash. And the Aussie cross just came up and greeted Sunny and then told him off. There's another Portuguese water dog who knows how to get away from things too. So watch it again. This is a different fight. Same dogs though. He held onto the dog's collar, then he took it off, and the two dogs then fought a little bit. It was obviously not a very bad fight, but what happened was that Sunny, after that, became very frightened of new dogs when they came up when he was on leash, and he became leash aggressive. And I think even Tricia McConnell came down and saw him on one of her trips out to Marin, and by that time he was pretty solidly into the behavior. The only reason this continues to go is because it gets really cute in a minute. And I couldn't bear to cut it because we have a lot of dogs. Now you can see that Sunny actually gets along okay with the Aussie cross very quickly, and there's no problem. But what happened in the case of Sunny is that he identified being on the leash with getting attacked. And so he became leash aggressive because of that. But once he's off leash here, he's fine. He actually had other problems later. I mean, then his owner, unfortunately, without realizing it, made things worse. So the behavior that I think is cute is going to pop up here in a second. The Aussie is obviously queen of the walk. She knows everything. But Aussies do. Oh, here we go. I just can't bear to cut it. It's so cute. But look who's not involved in that. It's the great queen is not involved in that. Everybody else is involved in that. Okay. So what causes dogs to have problems with other dogs? Well, there are a variety of reasons why dogs might not like other dogs or might not get along with other dogs. The first ones are all due to nature. A predatory instinct can definitely interfere with good dog-dog body language. A type of dog that I find to be very victim-prone is a Vizsla. Vizslas are often chased, at least in our area, by other dogs. And I think it's because they look like deer. And they act like deer. They run very easily. And in fact, I was talking to a guy I meet on the trail all the time, and he's got a Vizsla, and an article of mine appeared in the paper not too long ago, and he said, "You're so right." He goes, "You're so right. My dog is a victim. All dogs want to chase my dog." And I actually was sorry to hear it because he has a very nice dog, but it's because of the way the dog looks. What we have done to dogs over the last 17,000 years or so has not been good for dogs necessarily. By taking their tails off, by letting their ears drop, by breeding them looking very different, we have interfered with their communication. So it's very hard for a German Shepherd, for instance, to then communicate with a Rottweiler if they grew up with German Shepherds or other prick-eared dogs, and now you've got a dog and you can't see their ears what's going on with their ears. So a lot of times dogs will mistake another dog for another species. Other dogs that are like that are some of the sighthounds. They appear to be very, because they run so fast and they're so quick to make decisions about which way to go, they appear like prey. Of course, so do bicycles, and so do, you know, skateboards, and children running. You know, there's a lot of things that appear to be prey to other dogs. Curiosity is also you know, a normal, natural behavior obstacle. They'll go up to another dog, start sniffing, and the other dog will not take kindly to that, and then they'll have a fight. Overt friendliness, this is the problem that we've seen with the onset of dog parks and other places where dogs play a lot, is that one of the things that a dog should learn as it's growing up is not to greet other dogs unless, you know, to do it properly. And dogs that play with other dogs on a routine basis who just kind of race at them and then just play don't know how to greet properly. And we all see those dogs. They're the ones who just come back. But as far, and the owners will say that, oh, he's just being friendly? Oh, yes, he is, absolutely. But the other dogs don't know that, and neither do the people who are being overly friendlyized. Fear-based behavior also is a behavior obstacle. Remember that both, that fear is a very, a fearful dog is a common kind of dog. Fear is very inheritable as a behavior trait. There will always be fearful dogs. And so a fearful dog needs, the more fearful a dog is, the more space they need. And if they feel cornered, they will then fight, right? So if you've got a dog that is being approached by a very friendly dog and that dog is friendly, is not friendly, is very fearful, then you might have some behavior problems right there. Fight or flight, you know, does a dog come, does a dog go? You know, it's got to make a decision as to where it's going to go. Other behavior obstacles. The biggest behavior obstacle of all is a leash. A leash stops dogs from behaving in any way, shape, or form like a natural dog. Because us linear species, we're holding the leash, the dog is having to go into a straight line, the dog is now presenting the look of a dominant, overly confident dog. They're pulling back on the leash. This is why I like the sensation harness, the new body harnesses. I think they're so good because they really help with that. But the person is pulling on the leash in most cases. The dog is pulling forward. Their eyes are going straight forward. Their ears are often up and pointed straight forward. And if their tail is wagging and it may be up, they look like they're doing a confrontation. And they may be just the most friendly dog on earth, but we're forcing them to do bad body language, which, you know, that's bad, and that comes from the leashes. So you have to help a dog learn how to handle a leash and not pull on it. That's the primary thing you have to learn if you want your dog to get along with other dogs that they're passing. One of the primary things. Also, learned poor behaviors. Facilitated learning when with other dogs. If you've got a dog and you've got 4 dogs in your family and one of them's a bad greeter, guess what? All your other dogs are going to learn how to be a bad greeter. They don't learn the good things, they learn the bad things. That goes along with all behavior. Poor greeting behavior also from puppy classes. Lack of training and history of attack. A dog that's attacked once or twice, as I said, in a traumatic way, often will become aggressive because they figure that the best defense is a good offense. And I think there are a lot of people who will do that too. You know, not just dogs, but people. Okay, so here's some body language. This is my stuffed dog experiment, and I'm going to pause it for just a second. I don't know if any of you guys have seen this. This is a lot of fun. I have a stuffed Doberman Pinscher, and I use it a lot to actually show, you know, different kinds of equipment that we use or whatever. But I bring it out, and I would have, all these dogs would have different responses to it. So I thought, well, I'll just videotape. And so over a period of a few weeks, I videotaped quite a bit, and then I stopped, and I occasionally still do it. But after a while, I began to say, okay, what is this dog presenting for? You know, what's the behavior problem? And then what's its response to the stuffed animal? And we'll see if we've got a correlation, and of course there's a correlation. Because at first, the dogs all think that the Dobie is a real dog. Well, actually, that's not true. Most fearful dogs do. Some other dogs don't. But there is a tendency on the part of dogs to think of it as being a real dog first, and then to make the decision about how to act on it very quickly. So for purposes of control, these first few dogs are normal dog responses. They're not, you know, this is not abnormal in any way. These are what you would expect to see a dog respond to. There's audio, yeah.
Send you a schedule if you'd like. Okay, I'm going to get your address. Okay.
That's a Catahoula leopard dog, and she's got, you know, the courage of 5 dogs.
Lucky thinks he's pretty interesting.
It's a great curiosity, you know, just what's going on here.
Probably do it.
Remind you of someone?
Find some video.
Right. Get that 100,000.
This is William and Harry. And William apparently does this to Harry all the
I
time.
was going to bring in all the toys to show you, but that would have been very exciting to them. There's one that's a pug.
Okay, so that's all normal response, okay? Now here is nervous or fearful response. These dogs are just not sure about this thing, and you can see how they respond.
It's interesting, she hasn't even gotten close to it yet, and it's been a long time.
I love this. Goes around the other side. Poke. Tasting it. Oh my goodness, it's not real. Oh no.
All right.
This dog has got some aggression issues. You have to watch her mouth.
Yeah.
Tongue click, tongue
You
click.
see her snarl?
Little snarl.
I can't hear it.
No, she's just doing a lip lift.
Up, up.
She went around the back. Very.
Say hi.
Typical
Go
Aussie.
say hi.
I'm going to go all the way around it.
Go say
It
hi.
wasn't until you put it on the floor, Trish.
Hmm?
It wasn't until you put it on the floor.
Go say hi.
Mom? It looks up at the owner, which is really good.
It's the
actually.
herding dog look. I'm going to take. Go. You want to see? Yeah? You want to go see that? Good girl. What is that? It's a dog, isn't it? Why don't you hold the head up a little bit so see if she gets a little bit unscared. It's an arousal.
What should I do?
It's fine. She's trying to figure out if it's a dog.
So the only way the dog could work up enough courage
Good.
was
Okay,
when the
we can
owner
go.
was holding the
Okay, we can
stuffed
turn it
animal.
off.
How do you turn it off? That thing right there.
This is great because you can just look at the avoidance. I'm looking away, I'm looking away. I'll look back to make sure it doesn't attack me, but I'm really looking away. When a dog is worried, they go through anxiety, right? Then avoidance, then escape. And all these dogs are doing avoidance. They're not doing escape. Aggression comes after that.
It's interesting. He's even displacing.
Whoa. The eyes on this Dobie are really, really
He's
penetrating.
very nervous.
This dog, this Pyrenees, is actually quite aggressive. Very fearfully aggressive, obviously fearful. He's there with another Great Pyrenees. And
Good boy. Good boy. He's definitely
Is that
scared of
kind of
it.
loud?
Transferred his fear right to me.
Yeah, because he kept looking up at you.
Yes, so we got people and dogs going on.
Okay, so this is his
Confident dogs
roommate,
just kind of
and
go,
she's fine.
it's a toy.
Okay, so those are all middle ground dogs, right? Now we have here extreme response. Mostly these dogs don't even bother to figure out what the dog is before they take action. These dogs actually have an aggressive response to almost any dog. Great shot of an agonistic pucker. I mean, you know, that's me. Dog's in conflict with itself. Growl, 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 lick, 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 lick. I'm worried. I don't want to be a bad dog, but I really can't stand it that you're this close.
That was his correction.
Same dog. I took it off the tie down to see whether or not that had something to do with it, and took the pig's ears away. In my job, you have to be willing to make a fool of yourself.
She's doing that. She can't even help it. She can't make a decision not to do it, even though at this point,
She's kind of
she
figuring
should
out
know.
it's not a threat.
She should know that it's not. But if I take it away and I do it again, she's going to do the same thing. She doesn't have any choice.
This one's real fast, predatory. That's my dog. That's Strider crying in the background.
Okay, try calling her off.
Hey, Kofi, come here. Hey, Kofi. Hey, Kofi. Kofi.
The owner thought other dogs were starting the fights.
Can you see us? Underneath.
Put a hood on just to block the eyes away so that the dog wouldn't be quite so frightened. And what it did, it made the dog much more courageous about biting. This is the nasty little bite coming up now.
That's a real bite. I mean, that's.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I never saw him because he never bite nobody. But I saw him. He's just like the way he just grab it. Yeah,
It's an angry bite. It's
Yeah.
not a play bite.
yeah.
Okay. So this is how that looks. Try that.
Okay, and then I wanted to show this one. This is a Rottie bitch. This was more recent. Just quick.
Can you see what she's doing? Blanket?
She's 8 months old. So again, not willing to look and see that this is not a real dog. Her dog skills are appalling, just appalling. This is all the long distance because you can see the targeting here. She's so fast. So she'd already been in several dog fights. She'd actually bitten her owner 4 or 5 times. And she just didn't bother waiting to see what was going to happen before she was going to do it. She's a very interesting dog. I mean, that's probably not the best way to put it, but from my point of view, a very interesting dog, you know. And then I just did one the other day that I thought might be of interest to you guys. Would you like to see one more? This is a different response. And I'll put this on a different DVD. But you can see what's happening is that the dogs actually they have never learned how to properly react to other dogs. So they get themselves into a pickle, kind of a situation where they have to take action without having full knowledge. And our job, as far as I'm concerned, is to teach the dog to wait and learn a little bit before you take any kind of preemptive action. So this is a 3-year-old Rottie Cross, and I thought his behavior was fascinating. He'll go all the way up, but look at this. So P, I want you to take a look at this at some point because this is such fascinating behavior. He's giving such mixed signals. Ears are back, tongue flick, really a nasty looking mouth. But can you see all the fear in him? I'm going to go up and look at it, but then the reason I videotaped this was because he went up to the stuffed, I was showing him what a sensation harness was. He went up to it, snarled, and then he bit the dog's nose, really just. And then a little bark and he's done. So he's a fascinating animal.
One more time, sweetheart.
And the owner is probably one of the best people. I mean, she's great. She's going to continue to work with this dog forever. She's really, really good. So anyway, that to me is very interesting from the point of view of dog body language. You guys think so? Just watching what they do when they think they're seeing another dog, and then we wonder why they have, interaction problems when this is not even a real dog, and they have interaction problems with it. So from there, I'd like to go to play behavior, which will give us another look at dog-dog body language. And actually, this goes into breed-specific body language. What do dogs do when they're playing with other dogs of their same breed? Now, I don't have very much of it, but it's still fascinating from the point of view of what they're saying to each other. Because obviously, play is appropriate body language, isn't it? And it is how dogs learn to communicate with each other. It has to be. It's the same way that people learn how to communicate with each other. When you're a kid, kids play with other kids and they learn where to stop, how to make people feel better, whatever they want to do, and they learn either good or bad. And play is always practice for adulthood, always, with all species. If they play, it's practice for adulthood. So if you see a puppy playing in a certain way, then that behavior will be likely to continue into adulthood unless you or someone or another dog takes action to stop it. If it's good behavior, then that's great. You want to keep it going. If it's not, you might want to interfere with it. So what play is a series of moves that mimic real behavior intentions. Contradictory signals with quick freezes in between. You want really fast, nice freezes in most cases, although not in all for sure. But the dog might be signaling that they're going to pounce and then suddenly go in a different direction. So they're contradictory signals, signaling the intention to do one thing when they're actually going to do something else. Of course, play bows, tons of play bows. Ears are often back, tails are high. So they're giving off all these signals all the time. And then they use cutoff signals. And cutoff signals are so important, and it's one of the things that we teach in puppy classes, and I know Pia teaches in her puppy classes, how to stop, don't go any further. This is where we want to stop. And a natural cutoff signal is wonderful to see. So there's polite play. This is kind of breed specific or breed type specific. But there's polite play, which is something that's non-touchy, and the first one we're going to see is non-touchy-feely. Then the next one is breed-specific with a variety of different kinds of dogs. Then interbreed play, then borderline play. So you get a variety of different kinds. Each breed plays differently. So if you have a purebred dog and you've got all, this is one reason why I think if you want to be a really good trainer, you should have every kind of dog there is. Since this is difficult for me now because, you know, I've had, I think, 23 dogs in multiples, but now in order to catch up, I have to have mixes from here on out because, you know, I'm going to try to get, but, you know, it is important to be very, very familiar with different breeds and how they play so that you can say, oh, this is normal blah, blah play. And just the other dog is just misinterpreting it. So this is breed play. And the first one is actually Ariel and Whimsy, who it's a border collie with a Belgian Tervuren, but their play is very polite. Yeah. This is fairly typical for a lot of herding breeds.
Go get that little
It's
dog.
no touchy, lots of play bows. That was the little border collie got too close to Ariel.
Go play, go play.
Ariel goes, you don't want me to do this, really. My Cairn Terrier, Sophie, does not want to play.
I know, you think of this as pretty good play session with all these girl dogs.
Ariel, go play.
Almost brave enough.
There's a great play face, the sideways ears.
Go play, go on. Go get her, go play.
That's a stress yawn. What are you wanting me to do, Mom? I can't believe it. All right, so you take both of those dogs, and now I want you to visualize them playing like these German Shepherds play. Great cutoff signals. Freezes. But look how physical this play is. They're on top of each other. You'll see hip checks. Oh, Gorby goes. You see all those things we were talking about? The freezes and then the cutoff signal. But very physical, right on top of each other. Didn't it look like guy play? Gorby's not playing.
You don't think it's playing at all?
Well, I think he's playing, but
He's kind of,
he's on the different. See, we were even wondering, you know, what do you think most owners would think? That, I mean, there's the ones who would be going, oh yeah, let them work it out, and then there's the ones that would be thinking that they weren't playing at all. Or, so.
Just to show.
Okay, so that's those dogs. And can you just see Ariel or the little Whimsy playing with either one of those dogs? They'd be freaked out. But we send dogs to dog parks and say, you know, this is play style for one dog and not for another. This is two pit bulls playing. Notice the lack of noise.
Yeah, when he was a
Except
puppy,
for the
people
guy,
antagonized
who never
him.
ever
Little,
stops
hey,
talking.
Look, he's gonna learn that scene up. Don't do that.
Yeah.
You know, and I stopped.
Why
him.
encourage something
Well,
that's...
exactly. It's like, look, that's gonna. And so I've repressed it, and I've taught Kilowatt to play nice, and he will yield and submit like that.
No.
important?
But then all of a sudden he gets panting and he's around everything and we're out in the backyard. Next thing you know, he's flying through the air at me. And we're playing.
You're like, okay, we need a playmate.
You know what else he
turn
likes?
it down
He likes
a little
when I
also.
sweep, and
Also?
the broom is his
Turn it
favorite
down a little
aggressor toy. I'm sitting there sweeping and he thinks it's...
All right, what are you noticing here? Are there cutoff signals?
He grabs the end of the
You're not seeing any cutoff signals. Are you seeing quick freezes? There's no real quick freezes. So these two dogs know they're playing, don't they? If they were playing with the German Shepherd, would the Shepherd know that they were playing? Or I might get a little bit worried about whether you're playing. Pit bulls, by their nature, have a tendency to be very tenacious, right? So they're going to continue to do something. They also, these guys play with their mouths open the whole time. And where are they going after each other? Neck. You know, play is practice for real behavior. These are terriers. Terriers are supposed to do what they do. Both of these dogs are really cool, by the way. Very nice dogs.
Irritated and just chomped Kilowatt, you know, when he was about 4 months old, put him right on the ground. So he's learning, you know, these dogs are bigger than him, yeah. What's that, Kilowatt?
It was such a funny story. The guy was walking through the kennels looking for his lost dog, and he goes, "Oh, there he is," and it wasn't. It was the female. And then he didn't get that. We didn't have the male. He went and got the male from a neighbor, and then came back to get the female because he said they look so much alike. But I don't know if he's capable of taking care of them because he never stops talking. He never once, ever, looked at the dogs. I mean, I'm rolling this tape and rolling it and rolling it and rolling it, and he just kept on talking.
That's just hogging it. How's mine, baby?
But he was, you know, he's a nice enough guy. And I hope everything is going well. I sincerely hope so. And then one other thing we've got here with boxers. The labs is too long. I'm going to have to cut it down, so I'm not going to show that. But this is actually another one of those wonderful stories. This is two dogs who, the little girl, Naomi, was brought into the shelter. She was a stray. Or no, she wasn't. She was own surrender. And the people with the big boxer came to look at her and found out it was his litter mate. And so they're worried. And this, one of the interesting things about this is how the leash interferes with real good play behavior. Because they were worried about him, and you can see he goes into arousal. Can you see his hackles are up? And I mean, they're both in arousal because that's the way boxers play. But because he's getting frustrated, he's just a little bit, you know, over the top. But I finally think I talked her into letting the dog go. She was worried that he was going to hurt the little girl. Now boxers, anybody here have boxers? Yeah, lots of people have boxers. Boxers play with their feet, right? They do a lot of boxing. They get up and do all this stuff. And again, put that dog with Ariel or the German Shepherd and see what's going to happen, because they're going to see that as a dominance move, when the boxer is meaning it as a play move. The two different kinds, they're just communicating at a different level.
Play like boxers.
Should just give them all these great little kisses.
That's how the dogs talk about play.
They're also making roaring noises.
They just hold this thing.
And I'm not saying that all boxers play like this any more than all German Shepherds play like the other Shepherds or whatever, but this is just to show how different play styles, how amazing it is that dogs do get along, considering sometimes they have these big communication problems between one another. Okay, so those are all really nice interactions, aren't they? You know, you can then start going into interbreed play. Only I have to.
Yeah, when he was.
Oh no, the guy's going to start playing. Okay, now we've got cross-type play, and this is my favorite of all times. That's leash aggression. So these are two types of different breeds playing with each other. So this is Strider, my dog Strider, and he's going, "Oh my God, what is it?" Now, the thing to watch in here, because it's a somewhat long piece of tape, is to watch not only the little guy, who is just adorable, But also Strider, who uses all kinds of wonderful body language to make the other dog feel at home. So Strider turns his head to the side. He does a lot of sniffing around the room. You see him look at his head, look away? He goes, oh, I'm not a threat, I'm okay. And the little guy is going, yeah, you know. And then Strider does a couple of moves to play. He says, you want to play? And look at his tail, little guys, you know, just really up there. Woo!
Go ahead. It's okay, you can play.
So now I had to actually help him play.
Come on. Come on. You can play. Come on. What's up?
Strider's going, do I have to? Okay, so now we're really going to get going here. So this play style, as far as I can see, more closely resembles that of a rabbit than anything else. And Strider's trying to play like a German Shepherd. And it's kind of really weird. Strider, easy, easy. Cutoff, nice cutoff. A cutoff is often a drop down to the ground. Easy, Strider, easy. Strider! So put these guys in a dog park and, you'd have it would be way out of control.
She likes it here.
Here she goes. Boom! Bridge under troubled water there. I wanted that dog. Don't y'all want that dog? Isn't she the cutest little thing? Okay, now she's confusing a border collie. Who is, border collies, how they play. This is not exactly what the doctor ordered here. So she goes, is it a mouse? Turns it over. Nope, it's not a mouse. Seems like a dog. Can I hurt it? No. So what is this little dog managing to do? It's confused both dogs, hasn't it? But it's doing well. I mean, they did well, but if it was a different kind of, if it was a different kind of dog, then the Chihuahua would be in deep trouble. Here's also crossbreed play. This happens to be in my own home. This is what Pia was talking about with, a control freak gritting in the midst of some fun. So Strider cannot play with Sophie the way Sophie wants to play with Strider. You can hear the clicks of the teeth as Sophie's biting him. That's her teeth. She gets all the way on top of him. She's such a little jerk. And what he does, because he can't take it out on her, is he takes it out on the bed. So he does displacement behaviors. Again, good communication, but real problematic if you were talking about two dogs that didn't know each other very well and somebody wasn't watching what was going on. Okay, now here comes Ariel. You guys are not allowed to play in the house, and you should know that. Look at Sophie looking away. Oh. And Strider's got himself another toy. And Ariel is going to make sure nothing happens. There we go. All quiet in the King household. Okay, so I'm not going to do this one. This is, I mean, it's just more of the same. And so those are all pretty normal. I mean, those are nice crossbreed play. And now I want to do another one which is not. This is Jack and Canute. It's a husky and a pit bull playing. And this was problematic play, and this is not something I would ordinarily allow to happen, okay? So just to remember that. There it is. This was the last time these two dogs played with each other. Another, again, crossbreed. So the husky and the pit had to learn how to communicate right. And they were in a tiny little room, but it goes over the top really fast. Play.
Jack, finish. It's all right. Jack, come.
Sorry about the video.
Boy, nice.
Reminds me of two teenage boys. Yeah, yeah. You know, because they're just right on the cusp.
His pupils are halos right now.
It starts again.
A very strong no. And he keeps on pushing. And the no has to be more than just a little no.
In the corner.
That's why Jack gets lots of bites on the top of his head.
Okay, full intention, closing mouth, a straight stare right in the other eye, in the eyes. They diffused it this time.
Cute.
They wouldn't diffuse it the next time. They'd actually begin to fight. And as Pia said, vertical. This is real problematic.
You get real uncomfortable.
You see this. This is not what you want to see in any dog park or with any of your dogs
That's what I'm
playing with
not
each
so
other.
uncomfortable because he's totally not.
See if there's any more that is appropriate. Okay. And then I guess one other one. What time is it? Yeah, I've got time. Okay, this is another problematic. This is a Staffordshire Bull Terrier playing with Strider, and they're both doing okay, but the Staffy is playing like a bully dog, and Strider's trying to play like a shepherd, and they've got problems. This is probably the most problematic piece of tape I have because you don't see very many problems because the dogs really continue to get along just fine. But if you put this in a place like a dog park or something, you would then see some major problems evolve from there. Vertical.
Oh, we missed it.
It's coming back.
And what's Strider doing? He's trying to do avoidance, isn't he? He's just not very comfortable. He's doing okay, but he's not particularly comfortable.
This boxing is fascinating. Okay, how long do you think it's going to take for him to get aggressive?
Okay, that's enough. Come on. Come on. He wants to play with it. I mean, he's not aggressive now.
He's just working up to it, though.
now he's got him cornered. Doesn't he look proud of himself?
I mean, he's really not that arousing, really, if you want.
Okay. All right, so there you got, good play, problematic play, and good body language, bad body language. To communicate properly. That's a big goal. For how many breeds are there? How many breeds are there anyway? It's probably over 300 breeds of dogs, really, maybe even more than that, plus all the mixes that mean that they're going to give you all different kinds of behaviors and whatnot. And what we want the dogs to do is be able to get along with each other. Gosh, people can't get along with each other. We have different nations that are at war and all that kind of stuff. So in my view, we do not have the capacity to teach dogs to get along with all other dogs. And I don't think we should have that. I don't think we should be looking towards that. That is, what we should be doing is teaching our dogs to be able to get past other dogs without having a display, to be able to ward off behavior problems, other dogs coming at them. They need to be able to diffuse problems, if at all possible. And so that's my goal. And we do trail manners classes and other classes like that. What we're trying to do is teach the dogs to diffuse problems, to be able to appropriately approach and then pass other dogs. So some of the bad things that you see, running approach with body slamming, flybys, all those things are very bad behaviors that we see a lot. Sometimes a stiff, straight approach with a stare. So what do you do with your dog when you want them to learn how not to do that? You have to teach your dog to do cutoff signals. You have to teach your dog how to turn away. Another cutoff signal is sitting down. They just sit down, they just stop. To lie down, to go into a submissive posture. Those are cutoff signals. They will tell a dog, just don't bug me, please, I'm really nice. And we have to teach them to do that. So here we have 2 Rhodesian Ridgebacks, and we have some really good body language. The male Ridgeback is doing a play solicitation with the female who is worried. Her ears are back, her commissure is really pulled far back, and she's sitting far back on her haunches. And he is barking. You can't hear it, but you can see it, can't you? That he's barking, he's saying, please play with me. And she's cutting him off. She's saying, please don't do this. So then he says, please do it. And what he's doing now is he's curving his body. He's turning his body all the way around. Can you imagine him doing that on a leash? He can't do that on a leash, can he? He couldn't curve his body around and say, well, really, I'm meaning good things here. And then she is curving her body, too. She's offering submissive postures. Her head is down. Her eyes are squinted. Her tail is all the way down. But I can tell you, after this, they started to play. It was just a process. So he asked, she answered. He calmed it down. She answered better. And that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about that we need to teach our dogs. When a dog is afraid, they'll often do some things that don't work very well at all. They'll drop to the ground and roll over a lot, and what happens then is that many dogs consider that a prey-like move, and they will go for the gold. In fact, I've had clients, and you probably have too, who say my dog only goes after dogs that drop to the ground or dogs that seem weaker than he is. So that's going into the predatory drive, isn't it? If they're going, I'm going to get that dog, because they don't even think about it being a dog. They're just going to go in prey mode. A lot of dogs they'll lick at the approaching dogs and they'll grovel again. Some dogs are okay with that, but sometimes it'll mean that the dog will become a victim. Blinking rapidly is supposed to be a great cutoff signal. You all know who Turid Rudgas is. Have you ever tried doing blinking rapidly to stop a dog from growling at you? I had one that was really funny. It was this dog that was very scary, and he actually walked up to me in no uncertain terms, put his head right in my belly. I was sitting down and growled and looked up at me, and I'm going blink, 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 blink. And I started yawning, yawn, 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 and it didn't work. Well, maybe it did. I still have a stomach left. I don't know. But boy, did he scare me. Running away is another thing that the dogs will do to try to cut off another dog, and that's very bad. That actually will cause a dog to attack them. So of these things that they do, the best ones to do are full stop, sitting or lying down. Those are the ones that we want to encourage our dogs to do, to cut off the approach by another dog that they feel uncomfortable about. If the dog is in a state of arousal, it's very, very difficult to teach them to do anything. any kind of cutoff or anything. I'm going to go on here. This is Lily. I'm not going to do her. Okay.
No.
All right. Okay. This is arousal at its not at its worst, but this is in a dog park, and the dog to watch is the Aussie. They have a fight in the beginning, she and a black dog do, and then she goes into arousal, and you can watch the other dogs diffuse her arousal until it doesn't work anymore. One dog can't do it. Okay.
Lucy, how nasty you all are. We were walking yesterday, and Debbie got the bad side of the pond.
Oh, we got them all apart.
It's okay.
This is it again, okay, in slow motion. 3 dogs are playing. Black dog comes over. He's not being, is the black dog, who's a female, serious? Yeah, the other dogs were playing. Okay, now watch the 2 of them. They do a good stare. Then somebody reaches down and pets each dog.
We're walking.
You just can't wait to get out.
Okay, so here's where the stuff happens. The Aussie's in full arousal, and the other dogs are going to have to tell her, don't worry about me, I'm okay. And you can see, you'll be able to see them be successful here. See, that's a black dog out there.
Thing going with Lucy.
Good girl.
So that was Lucy. She was going after the black dog again, and she came back.
Good job, Lisa. A little incident with Lucy and Jackson's just got herself completely.
So she's up there.
Wound up.
Always like that.
So did you notice that Gigi, the little German Short-Hair Pointer, she's turning away? See how the turning away? I'm diffusing it, no problem. Everything is okay. Here's another black dog. Watch the other black dog. Stops, shakes, turns slightly away. Whoop, tail down. I'm no problem.
Nope, that's not Lucy.
How long now, Danny? Next week? Tuesday? I know.
And remember I said running away is not a good idea, and I also said the stuff about Vizslas. And she got into another fight.
Ellie, this way!
So she was spoiling for a fight. She wanted to get into a fight. She wasn't finished. All the other dogs managed to diffuse the fight by using some kind of body language to say, I'm not a problem. I'm okay. Everything is all right. But the Vizslas, who were just trying to play, obviously, weren't even paying any attention to her. What they did is they just started to run. And the running sparked the behavior, and then she continued with the attack. So, it wasn't the Vizslas' fault what was going on. But the other dog, actually, I don't know if the guy hadn't been wanting to play with them, if maybe they would have noticed that she was in a state of arousal. I have no idea. So we have to teach our dogs to be good with, whoops, going to go on for this one. Okay. So how do you teach your dog who doesn't do very well? How do you teach your dog to be good with other dogs? I mean, really what should happen is another dog should teach him, right? Or other dogs should teach him, because we're such bad teachers compared to them. But in this case, in a lot of cases, we have to teach them because it's too problematic to have other dogs teach them. So we start off with teaching them a slow approach. And I do this using a dragging line, usually about a 30-foot line. And if you can do it with a dog off leash, except for the line, that's the best. But even if you have them on leash, having a dragging line is good. So you have your short leash, and then you have a line that's dragging behind. And you teach a weight. Now, actually, since I wrote this, I actually have changed it, and now it's more of a whoa. Okay. And the reason is because I actually want them to slow down. So what do I want my dog to do? I want my dog to slow down, to turn their head away, to look away, to be really good with other dogs. So I want them to do that. I don't want them to go into a wait. I don't want a full stop necessarily. I would like them to be walking like this, and then just to kind of go, you know, I'm no big deal. So if you're walking your leash, say you're walking your dog and you've got a leash on, and you're like this, and you go, whoa, which Tricia McConnell says is much better than saying wait, because it's the universal sign of slow down, isn't it? When I say whoa, what do you think? Slow down. So some people go slow, that's fine, but I like whoa. And you do this, and then you kind of just put your foot on the leash a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, or you can pull back on your leash a little if you're using a sensation harness. I don't like it on a regular harness or a collar. You try to move the dog, just slow the dog down. That's why I say it's really good if it's off leash, because then you can just put your foot down, whoa, and down, and down. And at the same time, you pull your dog over to the side. And the easiest way to do that, I was just going to reach in and get a treat out of, and I don't have any treats, I have a little thing back here. So you get your treats, and if your dog is on your left side, you get your treats. This is not for obedience people. This is not for competition. You get your treat in your right hand, and you put your right hand right in front of your leg. So your dog is starting to slow down, and then they kind of turn like this, and they eat the treat right here. So what you're doing is you are kind of modeling, whoa, and turn your head like so. So what we do with dogs that have aggression problems is I'll do that, I teach them to do that whenever they pass another dog, whether it's, you know, a dog that's friendly and nice or it doesn't matter. So they learn to go more slowly, they're walking along. I also want them to arc, the Tour de Brugas stuff. Do not, you know, don't go in a straight line, go in a curve, arc, whoa, turn head to the side. And you really do, if you do this enough, you really do honestly get a dog coming this way, your dog suddenly is going like this, turning its head away, and it's giving the dog a signal, a calming signal, if you will. It's saying, I'm not a threat. So being like the other dogs that didn't fight with the Aussie, the ones that didn't fight, that's what you want your dog to do. Speedy behavior, any kind of speedy action is contraindicated here. You really don't want to have that. If your dog already walks off leash without pulling, which I have to say many of my clients do not have dogs that walk off leash without pulling. But if they, walk on leash without pulling. But if they did, it makes it a lot easier. But still, the dragging line, I think, is a really good way to do it. Other things that I'll do is aim the dog so it doesn't approach head on. And if you want your dog to meet another dog, you can actually have them meet the other dog, as long as you can either slacken the leash or drop it, so that they have the ability to do that, to meet the other dog. If and when you have them meet, it's an old rule of mine that dogs should never meet each other for the first time. So if they're going to do this meeting, then you call them away almost immediately and then let them go back, and then call them away and then let them go back. So you don't allow that whole tension thing to happen, that da-da-da-da-da-da-da, boom. You call them away well before that actually occurs. The things you want to look for in good body language are a full, wide tail wag. We know that our owners have a tendency to look at tail wagging as all friendly, and we know that it is not all friendly. But if you look at the base of the tail and you see big wags from the base of the tail, the chances are the dog is friendly. If the dog's tail is held high and is wagging rapidly, what do we have? You know, it's not friendly. It's usually confrontational. A relaxed posture, with ears that are not really held high, certainly not all towards each other, not right next to each other. Licking is a little bit worried. Sniffing is good, and a play bow obviously is very good. Things that do not bode well for the future of this dog with the other dog would include a tail stiff upright or wagging quickly, very slow, stiff body movements, a muzzle over the dog's shoulder, the T shape, a full stare, obviously not good, whale eye. And when they do whale eye, what I've noticed with whale eye, especially with a dog that's very afraid, you know what it is. It's when the dog is trying to look at something without moving its head, right? So the head is stiff and they're looking out the side, and you'll see the whites of the eye right around the outside. But the more stressed they are, the more it'll look like the eyes are going to pop out of the head. So on a couple of videos that I don't think I pointed out, you could see that the eyes were very stressed. And that is even more problematic than just whale eye at all. Stalking is very problematic only because other dogs see stalking as threatening. Many dogs stalk and play. Most herding dogs stalk and play. They get all the way down there and they're ready, set, go, boom, this is fun. But I won't allow my dogs to stalk except for with the other dogs in our family. So if you have a dog that does stalking as playing, get them out of there. And you can do it. You know, you just teach the dog to come to you when it gets into a particular position that you're not particularly keen on. You know, just call the dog out of there. But dogs shouldn't meet for the first time. And you know, I actually like dogs to go in the second half of their walk first too, so they don't pull. But get that? Yeah. Good idea, huh? Yeah. Okay. This is the last thing, so hang on a second. The other one that I think is very important to teach your dog is to wait behind you. This is fairly new for me because, and it comes from having so many aggressive dogs that I work with, but this is an honest-to-God wait. And a wait is just, you know, full stop. And teach the dog to do a wait with a sit if necessary. I don't necessarily require that, but I like the sit. Because if you do a wait and then you step in front of the dog, what you're doing is you're teaching the dog the thing that he really needs to know, which is that you're going to keep your dog safe. So beyond everything else, keeping your dog safe is important. So if you teach your dog, you know, wait, and then you get right up in front of him, then you can diffuse tense situations. And in fact, you know, I'll actually walk way in front of my dog sometimes if there's a dog that's coming rapidly at him or is showing these other signs, you know, is walking straight forward or is kind of trotting purposefully towards my dog and I don't know what its intentions are. So this final video, is pretty long. I think it's even 2 songs long, but you get to watch all the different behaviors. There's some real fun cutoff signals here. And just see how the dogs that are doing well with each other can talk to each other and communicate properly. Turning away. So Strider was moving rapidly, and he stopped and turned all the way to the side. This other dog is pretty scared. So he's going to do a play bot. There we go. You want to play? Okay. I think it's fun to watch the people all walking straight. The dogs are all over the map. This is my favorite interaction. minute. The dog meeting Strider is great. Sniff, sniff on the chin, back over to the butt. Nice big wide tail wags. And the scared dog's holding herself together quite well. But the lab mix, the one all the way to the left, is a control freak. And she's not going to let this one go. Stop right there. Did you see how she turned her head away? Just really nice. And then she goes, taking space. Oh, all right. And here's a cutoff signal that is a little over the top. I think all the dogs are going, what the heck? Big dog, too. They're very worried Rhodesian. Look how she slows down. Slows down, slows down. Avoidance. And does a nice arc. Went all the way over to the side to pass the other dogs. Woo, all the way around. If you let them, they're so good, aren't they? Oh, here's a dog asking for death. And the problem here is that the owner, not knowing what the dog should do, they should slow down so the dog can walk past. But instead, joggers keep jogging. And Strider's going, that's big. Man, that's big. Was that Amber? Those are both two aggressive Bouviers, I think, or giants, I couldn't tell. And this is what I have my dogs do when somebody walks by on leash. Don't we wish they could all talk like that and walk with each other like that? Okay. Any questions? Yes. Where are you? Okay. Right up here, George. She's going to ask.
How do you handle, I've all but given up walking my dogs in my hometown because too many people will just open the door and let their dog out to go potty and they're not on a leash, and then you just don't know. Mm-hmm. So do you have any type of solution for that?
The best thing advice I can offer is don't walk your dog in your own neighborhood. Because people, your dog will know where all the other dogs live, and the other dogs will be watching for your dog, and they just go straight out towards your dog. And territorial aggression is extremely common. And you're not going to, unless you can talk to the owners, which believe me is problematic, I don't do it. But that, I mean, you know, I wouldn't walk in my own neighborhood. Other than that, there's a really nice benign technique. I mean, you can take pepper spray with you if you want to, but then of course you have to realize they're going to do it on you later on. Is just take a water bottle, you know, like one of those cycle water bottles, and if a dog starts running at your dog, you spray in a big circle like that. Okay? It looks kind of nasty because you're using your arm and your arm is going all the way around, but it's just water. So it's not going to hurt anybody. And if somebody yells at you, you can tell them that it's just water. And that might work. Another thing that does work sometimes, this is when I do a weight behind me. So it's weight, grab a whole wad of treats and throw them at the dog. especially if you've got good crunchy treats. But, you know, aim for their heads. You know. But I mean, I completely understand. It's people who, they don't realize their dogs are very territorial. Yes, sir.
Trish, I know of dogs who have been put down for a submissive grin.
Yes.
Do you have a slide that depicts a submissive grin and then one that shows an agonistic pucker?
Yeah, actually, I could certainly do that. If you're here tomorrow, I could put the two of them together. Because, yes, I have submissive grin slide and I have the agonistic pucker. That would be the one that you saw today with the stuffed Dobie, because that was pretty bad. Okay, yes, over here?
When you put your dogs on down, when people are coming by on leash, do you ever have any problems with those dogs approaching your dog and then having a problem arise then?
If somebody is approaching and I put my dog in a down, if they let their dog go or they let their dog come over on leash, I let my dogs up immediately. I'm not going to put my dogs in a position where they're going to be hurt. And it is amazing how often they do that too. You'll have your dog in a down, it's obvious that you've got them down. You're saying, good boy, that's very good. And they go, what are you doing? You know, they just don't understand that the dog is actually in a vulnerable position. And you're not going to we can't change human behavior. It's hard enough for us to even begin to change dog behavior without that. So yeah, I will let them up. Absolutely. Yes?
Do gentle
No,
leaders
back
do
over there.
anything to impede proper greeting behavior when dogs are on lead?
Oh my, what a good question. Yes. I mean, just imagine having something attached to your nose and somebody pulling your head in a certain direction when you want to say hi to someone. Gentle leaders are very good control devices, but they are not good at teaching dogs good body language. Pia said earlier today she wants her dog to do things of their own volition. I want dogs to do things because of their own volition as well. I want them to learn to turn their head, not to have me pull it to the side, because they're not going to learn that way. In fact, they're going to fight it. They're going to go the other direction. So if you're trying to teach your dog how to get along with other dogs, a gentle leader is not indicated. If, on the other hand, your dog is like a very confident dog and is used to a gentle leader, then putting a gentle leader on and not attaching a leash to it is appropriate, because sometimes they say it calms them down. I think it shuts them down. So, but at any rate, it stops a lot of the behavior from actually occurring. So yes.
I have two dogs, and it's very difficult to walk them both at the same time because one is the in-your-face, I want to play, I want to say hi to everybody and lick their mouth and everything. And the other one is growling and lunging and trying to eat the other dog.
Okay, so yeah, you do have a problem. Isn't it nice to know you actually really do have a problem? If you want to hang around a little bit afterwards, that would be something that I would probably need a few minutes to answer. Anything else that can take a short answer, you think?
With the rough playing and the stupid mommy move,
Yeah.
does that work if the dog's also doing some mouthing, not just jumping?
Yes, that does. And also, if they're demand barking, the stupid mommy routine works very well as well. Okay? All right. Oh, yeah, you want one more question back there in the yellow? And then that'll be it for this evening. We have 2 more days to go through. I won't, I have a brain left. I don't know about you guys.
Kind of linking up with what you were doing with the puppy classes and everything, have you noticed when you're looking at the interbreed play and greeting, you've got a puppy who already, the puppies aren't learning their skills, and then you bring in an Akita, whose ears are naturally high set, whose tail is over the back, and it could be a wonderful dog, but all of them are already walking away. Is there something you can do to help that dog with the interactions?
So if you've got a dog that's got a naturally very confident demeanor that is intimidating to other dogs because of that demeanor, I would say the best thing to do would be to do on-leash pass-bys, 3 or 4 of them, just walking by, fairly slowly, walk like this, by here, turn around, go by again. The 3rd time, slow down, allow them to sniff. 4th time, allow them to sniff, and then see if it works out. Because, it's really hard if somebody looks intimidating to say hello, if somebody's frowning at you. But if after a while you get, a little bit get to know them a little bit, then it's much better. So it's slow, but it does work if you can do that. Okay? You guys, thank you so much for this, and I hope you enjoyed it.